Good evening, Internet. My name is Michael, and I'm here to review some stuff for you. Tonight we're going to take a look at a comedy from the 1980s starring Tom Hanks and Shelley Long. That's right, we're going to take a look at The Money Pit. Now, if you've never seen this movie before, let me read the back of the box so you can get a general idea. Tom Hanks stars with Shelley Long in this comedy from executive producer Steven Spielberg. Evicted from their Manhattan apartment, the couple buy what seems to be the home of their dreams, only to find themselves saddled with a bank account draining nightmare. They watch in hilarious horror as their rambling mansion eats their cash and crumbles slowly around them as everything, including the kitchen sink, disappears into the money pit. It's an outrageous, entertaining comedy for everyone who's ever been deeply in love or deeply in debt. So that's kind of a just general idea of the plot of the movie. The deeper plot is basically that Tom Hanks and Shelley Long are a couple. They're very much in love, and basically the apartment they were staying in, they can't stay in anymore. So they end up buying a house, which is like a giant mansion. And they get it for a huge deal, but it turns out the house has horrible, horrible problems. And they basically work to get the house fixed up. And at the end, the movie turns from more of a just straight comedy into a romantic comedy, and then there's a happy ending. That's a general idea of the plot. I don't want to get too much into the details. I do recommend you watch it. It's pretty good. The thing that I really want to concentrate on this movie is the comedy. The comedy in this movie is really, really hilarious. When it starts out, you find out that Shelley Long is she works in an orchestra, she plays the violin, and she used to be married to the conductor. And he's back in town, and it's her, he's the ex-husband, and he keeps trying to sleep with her, so they got some running jokes with that. But he turns out to be not too horrible of a person. And then you got Tom Hanks, who is an attorney, who apparently works in the music industry, and you keep seeing bits and pieces of his clients, and his clients are pretty dang hilarious. The bits with him interacting with his clients are pretty funny, and usually actually a little subtle, some of the stuff. And then they buy the house. And the house is a huge mansion, which is supposed to be worth like $1 million, but they buy it for like $200,000, which even in, 1980s money, that's really, really cheap for a mansion. And as soon as they get into the house, things go horribly, horribly wrong. And this is where the movie really, really shines, is just the slapstick comedy bits of the house falling to pieces around them. There's just probably like 20-minute sequence where just more and more bad stuff keeps happening in the house, more and more outrageously, and it's just really, really funny. And then eventually they get some contractors who are really shady, and then the contractor's crew shows up. And the contractor's crew showing up is another really good scene in the movie. They look almost like a circus, or like the people that work at a circus. It's just hilarious how bad they are. But anyway, then they do a time jump where it skips to 4 months later, and the house is mostly fixed, and this is where the movie turns more into a romantic comedy. And the slapstick, there's one huge bit of slapstick involving the work crew and Tom Hanks that's pretty good, but after that, they don't really have much of the slapstick anymore, and it's just more standard romantic comedy fare. I won't go too much into it. When it happens, it's kind of cliche. They're gonna break up, but in the end, the house being repaired is a allegory for them repairing their relationship, and they end up together, and they get married at the very end, and they have a great and beautiful house. There's also a scene in the very beginning of the movie involving Tom Hanks' father's character. He stole like a bunch of money and got married to a young woman in Rio de Janeiro, and then they show up like right before the credits with a humorous scene that plays back with some stuff with the people that Tom Hanks bought his house from. That was a really good throwback in the movie. That was pretty funny. So all in all, this is a pretty good movie. If you hate romantic comedies, you probably won't like the end part, but I'm not really a big fan of them, but I still found this to be a really good movie. I highly recommend it. I definitely give it a 5. And that's all I have to say about this movie. Stay tuned next time when we'll review something else.